Not yet. Not at all. I haven't got the program open. I'm slacking on that end.
Have you already gone live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, it's alright. I just. Nobody's going to be on right now because I haven't shared it yet. Let me see if I can find it. I should be able to trim off the beginning of it, so. I think before I upload it to YouTube. Vicious Vic.
So I'm gonna ask you this question in the music news. See that there?
Do you follow Snowman with the 6-pack? Is that it?
That's the dad joke. No. In music news. Streaming.
Oh.
So I don't know, but it occurred to me because like I've been subscribing to Google Play Music.
Oh, I got you.
And I'm like, is this gonna hurt? You know, some of the small bands that I listen to. So get some input from you on that.
Okay.
I don't even know if they get any money off of it.
They do, but very little. Oh, today's Friday. Oh, shoot. The final episode of Titans is today.
Uh-huh. Hey, you want to give a quick Titans thoughts? I'm not totally caught up, but I'm on Hawk and Dawn.
So you're 2 episodes behind. I mean, we can. I was going to do a written review after today of the whole season.
Well, I mean, maybe
But
we
yeah,
just give like a quick, you know, have you enjoyed it? Is it worth watching? Why don't you read the review?
Share. Oh, here we go. Okay. Share. So we got logic brought up. Oh, so as far as kind of the rules for the who versus who is, I think one, we got to figure out if we're going to include weapons.
Well, I think we can bring that up because let's say you're doing Batman versus Superman.
Right.
You know, so we say, okay, well, let's go ahead and establish. Are we talking about having this? Okay, all right, now let's discuss. I think that's my view on the show because I think that sounds like the normal conversation that
Right.
some guys would have.
No teammates. I think that's one thing that.
Yeah, so you
Because I
can't
heard
have
some people talking about Batman and versus Black Panther. People were like, he's got a whole nation behind him. I'm like, this isn't Wakanda versus Bat Family.
Yeah.
Like, if it's Wakanda versus Bat Family, Wakanda's got it all day.
Yeah,
That's easy.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, just individuals.
so. Problem was I was trying to finish I finished my Bible study notes and I was trying to type them in because I didn't have internet. But then I was trying to do stuff for the show before you got here. But hello. Oh, shoot. That's the problem. Hello. 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 1, 2, 1. Hello. I said it was selected. Look at device. Hello. Getting my nerves now. Hello. There we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello. 1, 2, 1, 2. Sean, you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here all day.
All day?
night.
All night. All day long.
All day.
Alright, let me go ahead and
all
share.
night.
Share the YouTube stream. Facebook, Twitter. It's not gonna run. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started.
Alright.
It's not the Metro one. Yeah. Welcome back to the Solid Sports Podcast with your host Jason.
And Sean.
Oh man, I forgot to do the and Sean first.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were going to try to give you some love.
I apologize.
What, we can do it again. So,
no.
welcome back to the Solid Sports Podcast with your host, and Sean.
Jason.
Yeah, it didn't go there.
Nah, not quite. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We're trying YouTube Live this week, so subscribe to the YouTube channel, Solid Sports Podcast, and you can chime in there in the live feed. We've done it before, but I want to try to start utilizing that a little bit more. So anyway, man, lots been going on this week. We've had a lot of Trump news.
Hey, when is there not a lot of Trump news?
Yeah, but this is a lot of like more kind of sort of important stuff with legalization stuff and all that. But
I think that there's a whole group of political party that would disagree with you that
like what?
This week is any less or any more big and important than any other week.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the left is still kind of been out of shape about stuff. So
Why?
It's just because that's what they do. and I'm not saying the left in particular, but that's what political parties do. So whether it's the left or the right, they're always been out of shape about the other side.
That's true.
So,
Well,
you know.
the first really big piece of news was the wall, the GoFundMe for the wall.
Yeah. So
yeah, I didn't know you could do that for political stuff.
I didn't either, and I don't know that it's necessarily considered political stuff.
Well, I know there's a veteran who lost 3 limbs, and he decided to start a GoFundMe to build the wall. I think the GoFundMe is set for $1 billion.
Yeah, $1 billion, and so far they have already raised. Oh wow, it's even more than the last time I looked. It's almost doubled.
What is that now?
It's at $13 million.
See, I just don't understand.
$13 million. Now look here. I can look here on GoFundMe, and when you go to GoFundMe's homepage, you have on there lots of different other groups or fundraising opportunities. You know, like Kaylee Hart, okay, Young Family, lots of medical bills, that sort of thing. The Seedman families also right up there on the front, and they're trying to raise some money again for medical bills. But right up there, first before all these families, is this picture of Trump and a picture of a wall, and it clearly it's photoshopped. It's not a legit sort of authorized Trump kind of thing. But he's got his thumbs up, and it's the "We the People will fund the wall" at $13 million.
Now, I'll say this. This is the one positive I'll say from the whole entire scenario, is at least people are putting their money where their mouth is. That's about the biggest thing I can say from the whole thing. I'm not a huge fan of the whole entire, Christians promoting this thing, because you can't look at Scripture. Well, I'll just say, I'm not saying that building the wall is non-biblical. I'm not saying that. I don't have hardcore evidential biblical proof that it is or is not a biblical thing. But my thing is when it comes across as hate, don't promote it.
Right, and
that's the biggest thing for me.
And that was my argument with North Carolina's First Amendment, is that it is an attack of hate. And that's what this is an attack of hate. Merry Christmas, by the way. We hate you. Get out of our country. That's exactly what you're saying. And by the way, these people that have had a devastating fire that ripped through a downtown area that I'm looking at here. No, don't worry about them. Let's build a freaking wall. This baby that needs more surgeries. No. Let's not worry about making sure that this family's provided for. I'm a little bit of soapbox, because I think you would be tooting your own horn if you did this, or it may come across that way. But as a father that has a child that has had to be at the hospital a lot, has had lots of surgeries, and still has more stuff coming up, it is extremely taxing on you, financially, physically, emotionally. I mean, you have to take time off from work to be supportive of your wife and your child. Not to mention that you have 2 other children that you're also still trying to look after as well. Then the financial strain of trying to make it to a hospital that they can take care of the work that needs to be done. So that's an overnight stay with the time off, plus the cost of stuff. It's not like, you can just go down to Food Line and pick up some groceries and cook them up in the hotel. You're eating out all the time with everything. And
you
it's
need to
not
GoFundMe
cheap.
Just for parking.
It is ridiculous.
Just for parking.
Yeah, and then there's also parking. And hey, you know what? Forget them. Screw them, man. Let's build this wall instead. That's far more important. It is the first thing on this stupid website. Come on, people. Sorry.
That's Sean's opinions on it.
I'm done.
Now, I will say this. This is not necessarily a Trump GoFundMe, but and I hate that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to try to make it short and sweet. I don't know about sweet, but so another thing, with the name Trump attached to it, is he passed a ban on bump stocks, and so this allows for semi-automatics to shoot as automatic, and so he has banned those, and so the right side is like, hey, keep your hands off our guns. The left side is like, hey, that's not enough, and so he's getting attacked on both sides for this whole entire thing. And then, but the one thing that he has done this week, and I've been hearing a lot of great things behind this, and I shared it on my personal Facebook, because it's good to finally see people come together on something. It was a huge bipartisan prison reform act, and so essentially what it does is, one, it lessens the criminal offense time for those who have been arrested for crack and then cocaine. What it does is it actually, before, because crack was so much more in the low income, in the black neighborhoods, and then cocaine was a rich white person thing for the most part.
Right.
it was a 12-to-1 ratio on prison sentence time. So for crack, you have 12 times as much as you would for cocaine. They finally equalized it. He said when the guy Van Jones, who was a part of the Obama administration, he said when Obama was in office, it went from 20 to 1 to 18 to 1. He said now it's down 1 to 1.
Wow.
And so for crack and cocaine, you get tried for the same thing. And this will actually allow for thousands of people to come home who were sentenced based on that. So a lot of those folks who got a lot more jail time were going to be able to come home now because of that.
Nice.
And so I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, a lot of people's like, no, well, they're drug dealers. They need to be locked up. I'm like, yeah, but, you know, your uncle was buying cocaine from his dealer. He got released a long time ago. So, you know, don't get too upset about it.
Right.
And so it's going to save a lot of money for, you know, the prison system and all that. And so a lot of people are really giving them props for that. So this isn't a whole entire, you know, loss for Trump week. You know, we're getting attacked by everybody.
I did, however, notice that you kind of quickly went right over the whole bump stock thing, and you know, just kept rolling there.
Well, honestly, I don't know a whole lot about the bump stock thing. I just know that the left side were saying he needed to do a lot more for gun control, and the right side was like...
Well, the other thing I wanted to kind of clarify is that it doesn't make them automatic weapons. It helps them to simulate a pull the trigger.
Right.
And that's pretty much every gun on the face of the planet. But the stock bumps back, so it allows for a faster fire time.
Okay.
And so it's actually essentially triggering faster than what you could trigger normally.
Okay.
And so it's sending them out faster. So it doesn't make it fully automatic. So you know, just don't want people all up in arms. You know, yeah, okay, it's not cool. It's not necessary. I agree, but it's not really making them that way.
Okay.
But anyway.
Thank you for the clarification. I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
So
anyway, you know me and my guns.
I don't know you and your guns. I know you.
You know my guns. You shot my guns.
That's true. I brought my guns to the show. Anyway, man.
All right. Hey, so getting into some entertainment news. Penny Marshall. Do you know who she is? Is?
Nope.
Okay. Well, so anyway, back in the day, there was this TV show. It was a spinoff from Happy Days. You've heard of Happy Days, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Called Laverne and Shirley.
Okay.
And she was Laverne. And I actually used to watch it as a kid growing up, and I used to like it. And anyway, she went on very early into the 80s into directing. So a pioneer, if you will, and female in directing. So pretty much unheard of, not something that was very common, and definitely nothing that was truly successful. She did the movie Big. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, everybody knows Big. I mean, the whole classic scene where Tom Hanks is dancing on the piano keyboard thing at F.A.O. Schwartz, right? I mean, it's almost iconic. She did that movie.
Cool.
That's her. Okay. She also did what is probably the best baseball movie of all time, and there's some really good ones.
Well, it's softball.
Wow. Anyway, baseball. A League of Their Own.
It's not the same. Softball.
Whatever. A League of Their Own. which
is a good movie.
It had Madonna in it, which was surprising that she actually had any kind of acting skills.
Or clothes on.
But or clothes that didn't look like underwear. But she, Penny Marshall did this movie, and we're talking, you know, we didn't really have much in the way of positive female historical type movies.
Right.
You know, and so this League of Their Own takes place during World War II, when women's leagues were trying to gain some recognition and some notoriety, because the men were all off to war, so the women were at home. So the people that were still at home, they were like, hey, well, let's still continue to play baseball. We got all these baseball fields. So anyway, it was good because it brought to light, you know, this. It's like the, and this is the technical term. You guys can get mad at me if you want to. The Negro Leagues.
Right.
Okay. You know, there's not enough information publicly at large, that is, um, about those leagues, but they structured our society, and frankly they can even bring us together, you know. And anyway, so A League of Their Own was truly a monumental movie, and on many different levels. But she passed away this week, and so very sad. But she helped pave the way for many other great folks that are doing wonderful work today. So, in fact, I can't remember her name, but the director who did Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
she's actually also doing, I think it's a TNT special with Chris Pine. You know who?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. That looks really interesting. It's all kind of like 40s noir kind of thing, but really pretty cool stuff. So, you know, she helped to pave the way for those folks to do that. So.
That's good, man. And it's good to be able to give recognition to, you know, anybody out there who makes a big way and a big change. But especially, you know, in these times where, you know, people are trying to catch up to where they probably should have been a lot earlier.
A long time ago.
And so, you know, somebody like this is able to help pave that way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. And her, like a lot of other folks, she started off in comedy, where, you know, frankly, it seems like that's where we kind of relegate minorities to.
Right.
You know, African Americans are pretty much only started with comedies. We could only laugh at them. We couldn't take them serious.
Right.
You know, and same thing with women. You couldn't have a serious woman TV show. It just wasn't possible, or a lead character. You know, that was only for men.
It'd be like I Love Lucy, where she was like real witty or dim-witty and.
Yeah. So you know, Penny Marshall, even though she had to start off that way, she definitely pioneered, you know, making a way for women to be able to do serious stuff. So anyway, it's sad to see her go, but we definitely appreciate all that she's left behind. So.
Yeah, man.
All right, so hey, Titans.
Titans.
I've been trying to keep up with it. I'm a little bit behind. I'm only a couple of few shows behind now.
Yeah, this is DC Titans.
Yeah, DC Titans.
You can stream it on the DC Universe app.
Which I have actually just now canceled. It ends at the end of this month.
Oh, okay.
So I definitely have to catch up on the shows before it ends this month.
You're gonna have to.
But otherwise, I don't see a reason to keep the subscription, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they released the last episode of Titans today. So if you are paying attention, I'm sure you're going to watch it if you haven't already watched it. But then I think next week or the week after they're going to start Young Justice Season 3, which is an animated
See, doesn't interest me.
animated season.
Yeah.
And after that they'll do Doom Patrol starting in February.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of interested to see that. And then I think after that they're going to finish Young Justice, and then they're going to do is it Starfire? The Starfire, or is another live action Swamp? It might be Swamp Thing, and then Starfire, and then Harley Quinn animated. So they're releasing a bunch of stuff this year. So every week, I think you're supposed to be scheduled to get new stuff. With the Young Justice, they're going to release like 3 episodes at a time, I think, and that'll allow you to be able to try to stay, you know, sort of ahead of, or you know, more than just the hour that you would get typically. But they're only like 22-minute episodes or 23-minute episodes, so it's still about the same amount of time.
Yeah.
A little bit more, but
I wasn't even really totally sold on Titans being worth the DC Universe subscription anyway. I mean, I've tried to keep up with it.
yeah.
But and even in that statement, it says, "Hey, yeah, I'm watching it, but it's not that kind of a priority. So I'm not that sold on the show."
Yeah, this last episode's supposed to be Dick Grayson versus Batman, so that should be interesting. I know you don't really know what's going on at this point, but essentially, as far as we can tell, Dick Grayson's in a mental fog, is what's probably going on, and this will probably be the episode where Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing, because he's left Robin behind. He's left Robin behind.
Because there's a new Robin.
Right, exactly. And so this is the episode where it's like he's hopefully finally going to figure out, okay, Nightwing. And but the weird thing is there's still so much, like, it looks like the whole episode's supposed to be about that, but where they left off the last episode, you're trying to figure out, well, I don't see how an hour is going to be long enough to have that whole entire situation plus the regular Titans situation. And I'm saying that so it doesn't spoil anything for anybody.
Sure.
But that's, I don't know. So I am anxious to see it. I'm kind of excited to finally see Batman live action in a TV show or a show, a series.
See,
So
I don't know that they're going to actually pull it all the way through. I bet they do some kind of shadiness there.
I mean, they actually have a Batman though. Like they've shown him in the previews.
Oh, so kind of like the Superman and Supergirl.
Yeah, you actually do have a Batman. It's a real.
Superman, Supergirl. Sucks.
It's a live
Supergirl
action.
sucks.
But apparently, jumping off of Titans, they are supposed to be doing they're talking about doing a Superman Lois Lane TV show. Because in the Supergirl series, Lois Lane is now pregnant. So they're going to have a little baby, probably a boy, based on the comics, if they stick to the comics at all.
Right,
They're going to name him John, and he'll be little baby Superman. So it'll be interesting to see if they do that, and if they decide to do the show. But yeah, man, so moving along, Venom is officially out on DVD Blu-ray.
Yep.
And I was able to get
4K.
all the different ways you can watch it now, and I finally saw it. I don't know why it's taking me so long.
Hey,
But
real quick, I will say this though. So I think pretty much it's like $22 everywhere you go if you get it on Blu-ray plus digital. But Best Buy has it in Steelbook for $27.99. So you're paying a few extra bucks, but it is a Steelbook case, and the cover is pretty freaking awesome. Let me see if I can pull this up here for you so you can take a look at this. But it is not only on DVD, Blu-ray, but it also comes with the digital copies or the DVD copy as well.
oh, sweet.
So
Sweet. That's
yeah,
nice.
yeah, doesn't that look cool?
Yeah.
I recommend that you guys look it up. It is worthwhile. I saw
How
it
much is
today
it?
in person. Yeah, $27.99.
Oh, that's much. That's worth it.
Yeah,
If you're a comic book fan and collector.
yeah, and man, if I wasn't still picking up Christmas gifts, I would have bought it today. I really would have.
Yeah.
I would definitely say, yeah, if you're into it, go ahead and do that because it was pretty awesome.
For sure, man. For sure. So yeah, just real quick thoughts. I enjoyed it. I thought it started off kind of slow. I thought the effects of him flickering whenever the sound noises came and he was, Venom was getting ready to jump out of his body. That was very kind of low budgeted effect wise. And I still think the Riot and Venom CG, like the way it looked was too jello. Looked very jello. I actually, in my opinion, and I know people's going to disagree with me, I actually thought the Venom from Spider-Man 3 looked better.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it looked better. But that's just out of record. I don't know. It just looked like jello, like you could just poke Venom and he would it would. I don't know. It looked really weird.
But it's kind of like that though. I mean, did you go ahead and read those books that I suggested?
Which books?
There was that whole series on Marvel.
Leave the
Universe.
Protector.
Yeah.
I read the Venom storyline
Yeah.
the movie's based off of. Leave the Protector. Yeah, I read that.
Okay, right. So I mean, so you got the whole background of it, that their whole race and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, yeah. So they are sort of this gelatinous goop.
Yeah, but they don't really make that apparent in the movie. You gotta kind of have to know that.
I think that
But
as it
still.
slinks and kind of curls over junk and stuff, I think that kind of tells you now.
I know, man. It just still, it just looked kind of
Okay,
whack. It looked
we'll
kind
have
of
to
whack.
agree to disagree.
So anyway, so that's it for the regular news.
Yeah. The only new music that I'm bringing to the table at this point is Becca Shea. You may not be really familiar with her. She's done a lot of praise and worship stuff in the past. She's starting to branch out and do more solo stuff. She released a Christmas album. Now, I'm kind of picky when it comes to Christmas albums, and I won't say that this Christmas album is it's not a 10, okay, or it's not a 5-star kind of thing, but it's pretty good. If you like something that's a little more bluesy, some jazz in it, it's got a good diversity of styles of music. If you enjoyed Lauren Daigle's Christmas album, then you'd probably really like Becca Shea's. And I do like Lauren Daigle's Christmas album, not because my daughter plays it every single day all the time, which does get really boring, and I tend to then despise it. But Let It Snow by Becca Shea, definitely worth listening to. So,
Gotcha. Yeah. And actually, we didn't mention it in the news, but Aquaman releases today, the day we recorded the podcast.
Yeah.
And Brinson has released his comic book theme song, Aqua Drip. And that's one of the things he's been doing that's pretty cool. Whenever Black Panther released, he released an EP called Vibranium. And then with Aquaman, he's doing Aqua Drip. And so, I'm interested to see if he keeps it up, if he keeps doing these things, and if he does, we'll keep sharing them on the show.
Yeah.
And the song's pretty good. I enjoyed it, and I'll let him know that. So make sure you hit Brinson up and let him know you enjoy the comic book themed songs. And yeah, man. So,
I have a question. Because I'm just now really kind of getting into this. I understand I'm behind the curve in this particular arena, but so maybe you can help me out, because I think that probably even some of our listeners may have the same kind of questions, or maybe they hadn't thought about it yet. And
this question came out about 3 years ago.
right, exactly. Yeah. Well, like I said, I haven't jumped on the bandwagon.
Late to the
So
game.
all of my music, I've been historically, I've always bought physical copies.
Right.
And then had started buying a few digital copies here and there. Sometimes some things only released digitally, so that was the only way to get it. And I was good with that. And it's not that I listen physically to CDs. I actually consume all my music digitally anyway. But I like having the physical copy because stuff happens.
Right.
But lately, I've been subscribing to a audio streaming service. I won't mention it because they don't pay us for the commercial. So anyway, but for a streaming service, and I've been enjoying a lot of extra music that I haven't had access to because I haven't had the resources to be able to buy.
Right.
For the cost of about one album per month, I'm getting tons of extra music.
Yep.
Whatever I want, whenever I want it. But so then it dawns on me that one of the artists that I was listening to is a very small time artist. I mean, they're pretty much always struggling just to get by. Okay. And I normally buy their music digitally. I consume it that way. But it hits me that, okay, so if I'm not buying their music because I'm subscribing to this online streaming service, are they getting a cut of this online streaming service? Because obviously I'm thinking that it's not benefiting them if I'm live or if I'm streaming their music through this service as opposed to buying it from them. So do they make the same kind of money? Are we hurting independent artists by subscribing to streaming services? Can you help me out?
Pretty much, yes. For small time artists, now this has been kind of a debate for a while.
So if I'm streaming Rare on whatever streaming service, I'm not really doing him any favors.
Not really. Kind of in a way. This is kind of how it works, and this is really like a music business thing. For small artists, it always helps to buy their music. Always. They get more money directly that way.
Right.
When you stream, the way streaming helps artists is, one, it helps for them to have people listen to the music they wouldn't listen to otherwise. So Trackstarz announces such and such has released a new album, somebody does an album review on it, they're like, well, I'm probably not going to buy it because I haven't heard their song before, but I can go stream it.
Right.
So they can go listen to it, and for me, if I really, really, really like the album, I'll buy it.
Okay.
Just so I don't have to use data or whatever to listen to it, even though streaming doesn't take a whole lot of data.
Well, that you can download playlists.
Yeah. And so, and I like to financially support artists. And whenever when you stream it, it helps, them get the plays that elevates their song on list and stuff like that. Because if you're a playlist curator like on Spotify, Spotify playlists are the new radio. So you want to listen to Christian hip hop, people will go listen to a Christian hip hop playlist curated by somebody who's got good taste. They're a DJ. And so whenever a playlist curator sees, wow, this person is getting a good amount of streams, let me check them out, then they can see that and they might add it to the playlist, and that'll increase the amount of listeners on those different playlists on those platforms, which will then increase the amount of revenue they get. How much they get, I think for like 1 million streams. It depends on what it is. Tidal, which is Jay-Z's streaming service, artists get paid the most money.
Okay.
So Jay-Z's helping artists more than Apple, who
Google.
else? Google, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube. All of those, I think you have to stream like 100 or 1,000 songs to get like a penny.
Oh wow.
Literally. Yeah. So it's pretty much almost non-existent revenue for artists. That's why whenever I like an artist and I want them to continue making music, I
Right.
buy it.
Okay.
Because otherwise, they're not going to be able to afford to keep going on. But the other good thing about streaming for artists too is it helps for people again to listen to the music where they might not have before, and with that, they're more likely to continue to check their music out, and then that builds up anticipation for live shows that they may do later on.
So, bottom line is, don't give up your streaming service, but if you really dig somebody and you feel like their music's worthwhile, go ahead and still also buy it as well, so that way you're physically supporting them. Or I guess you probably just make a donation, because I think a lot of Christian artists, you can just like donate. So.
Yeah. I like to buy it and then stream it. So they get the money up front, then they get the money from the stream revenue.
The plays.
So, yeah, man. So that's it for music news.
And so we've got a dad joke.
Do you want to do the music request first? Music submission request first?
We can, or do we do the it's news to us?
Oh, that's right. Let's do the dad joke.
And that's news to us. All right, dad joke. You ready?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this one is not necessarily Christmas specific, but it is kind of winter oriented. So get into the holiday spirit. You guys can share this when you go visit family. They'll all love it. So what do you call a snowman with a six-pack? Now, that's not a six-pack of beer or soda or Starbucks, okay? But like that, you're right. The belly six-pack, okay? What do you call a snowman with a six-pack?
What?
An abdominal snowman.
I need a laughing
you get
button.
You get it? It's not abominal, it's abdominal.
So, for anybody out there who is an independent artist and you want your music out there, you can send us music submissions at solomonsportspodcast@gmail.com. You can head over to the website.
/abs.
You can head over to the website, solomonsportspodcast.com. Speaking of which, man, it's been going really well. We've had our first guest post. Chicken George sent us a guest post.
Yeah.
And he did a really good job on it.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked reading it.
And I also put up there, I got a new article just posted today, and it's to help people figure out how to get involved in reading comics.
Yeah.
It is a very, very, very cluttered, so much stuff out there. You walk into a comic book store, completely confused unless the store is really organized well.
Right.
And, it's so hard to figure out what to read. So I made some suggestions on the website, on the article I posted on the website. There's many ways you can get started, and so you can go check that out on the website.
I would say even for a well-organized store, you still have to understand what you're looking at to know that it's even organized. Otherwise, I think it still looks like it's unorganized.
You really do.
So and maybe you've got a store that can spend a little bit of time, talk to you, like our favorite shop.
Yeah.
Arkham Comics. We'll go and give them a little bit of free publicity if you're in the Wilson or Rocky Mount area of North Carolina. Definitely check them out. Give them some love. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I felt like, if I didn't know anything, I could read that and I'd at least know how to get started into reading something. So.
And a really good store, as they do, is they'll post like first issues on the table up front with like new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
So Black Panther just started. They'll put the first issue up front so you can see. Okay, well let me check out this from the beginning.
Right.
Because I'm one of those people. I don't want to jump into a story mid-story. Because most comic stories run.
But you also address how to deal with that.
I do address that.
Which I thought was great. Yeah.
Good.
Because you can find something that you like and it's already started. So.
Yeah.
But you got a good solution for that.
So go check out the website, solomonsportspodcast.com. We appreciate you doing that, and that's
news to us.
That's news to us.
That's news to us.
Yeah, man.
Hey, actually, real quick, I didn't think about this. So, and again, I don't know how many of our listeners are even remotely local to us. But I would encourage you guys to definitely get involved with local comic shops if you're into comics. Support your local shops. There's plenty of ways to consume digital media, but still support your local shop. our local shop in Wilson and in Rocky Mount is phenomenal. These guys truly are passionate about not just the comics that they sell, but the community that they serve. So one of the two owners has this really great Darth Vader outfit, and he showed up at a local elementary school. They had a student who passed away this year from some disease. I don't remember. But so that grade level was kind of really just stumbling through things and just having a hard time and what have you. And so Darth Vader shows up to school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These kids just loved it, man. They ate it up. They're just, so excited, getting pictures and selfies with them and stuff. And you'd have thought that, they'd just gone to Disney World or something, okay? That's how awesome it was for these kids. It is an underprivileged school, and so, anyway. But that's their passion, is to give back to the community, And so one, I'd like to, share a little bit of love to Arkham Comics. Bill and Tiffany, they're the owners. Jason and Wilson is a great guy. And
comics aren't just for kids. I think that's the big misconception.
Yeah.
People think comics are for kids. They're not. They're for grown adults.
Well, and there's some that are definitely only for adults.
There are some that are very
I don't mean
grown
like
adults.
nudity, but just
Just content.
yeah,
Just content.
the content's just too mature.
So anyway, man.
But anyway, so yeah, a little shout out for them and sending them some love. They also do some sales online as well. So if there's something in particular that you're looking for, they can do that as well. So anyway.
Yeah, man. So anyway, we'll be right back with our round 5, and I kind of titled it Wishful albums. So anyway, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Abdominal.
All right, man. Ready to jump into it?
Sure.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Solomon Sports Podcast. That was
Abdominal.
that was Trust My Whip TMW by Vicious Vic. He's an
I
artist
don't
that
even know what that means.
I don't either.
What did you just say?
So he sent in his music through music submission in our Gmail, Solomon Sports Podcast at gmail.com. And so, yeah, that was the best one that we had sent to us in this past week. We wanted to play it. So send in your music, and I'll go through it. Well, we go through it typically, and this is brand new, so really, I've been listening to all of them. Sean's listened to some of them. So yeah, we're trying to.
I
We're
only
trying
listen
to.
to the stuff that you're like, oh hey, this is worth listening to. And I go,
Okay.
oh okay. So yeah, that means that some of you guys send us stuff that's not worth listening. No, that's not what I mean. It's just I don't.
Shh.
I don't
Let's
have
move
the
on.
time.
Round 5, Wishful albums. Round 5, Wishful albums. Now, what this is, it's not just albums that we want, but it's the type of album for certain bands or artists. So it's not just like, I wish someone would release an album. It's like, I wish
the
they released...
Beatles would do another White Album.
That's kind of racist. Or that
That's what it's called. It's
Metallica,
called
or Metallica would do another Black
Black
Album.
Album.
There you go.
That's so racist. All right.
I had to.
No, it's okay. I got
Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and start off with your number 5.
Okay, so a band that, as far as I know, they're not doing anything at all. The last album that they put out was 2011. Soul Sister Sally. They did their debut album, Green Grass. Frankly, their sophomore album also was.
Stop it.
I was giving that doubling or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So those of you watching live, I'm sorry for the sniffles. We've had this
Crack cocaine.
this storm front that's come through, messing with my sinuses real bad. I'm kind of sensitive to it. So I know last time we recorded, I had a cold, and now I've got sinuses, things going on. So high quality recordings here. Is there still the echo?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we can go ahead and delete that part.
We might as well go ahead and start over.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be able to find this part.
That's fine.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Solomon Sports Podcast. That was Vicious Vic.
Oh, sorry.
That was Vicious Vic
Oh.
with the song "Trust My Whip." So whip it good.
I don't
Whip
know.
it good.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, you don't need to, so it'll be alright.
Alright.
So anyway, that came through our music submissions. If you have music you want to submit to us for a possible podcast play, send the Solomon Sports Podcast at gmail.com. So round 5, Wishful albums. Now,
Okay.
this Wishful albums it's not just albums that we want people to release. It's a specific sound that they have.
So like, if the Beatles could release a new album, of course they can't because most of them are dead. I want them to release an album like the White Album again.
That's kind of racist. More like Metallica's Black Album.
And that's not.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, man. So anyway, let's start off with your number 5.
All right, so a band that frankly, as far as I know, that they're not even doing any more music. Their last album came out in 2011, and it was only their second album. Their debut album came out in 2008. It's Soul Sister Sally. So
Soul Sister Sally.
yeah, well, and as maybe even they might imply, it's kind of eclectic. It's very bluesy. They've got jazz, they've got rock, a little bit of folk feeling to it. But their debut album, Green Grass, to me just had this wonderful garage bandish kind of feel to it, and I like that. I don't really care too much when it's overly polished. I like to have a little bit of it's not totally right kind of sound to it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But anyway, the first drummer for Casting Crowns, actually him and his wife started the band Soul Sister Sally. And so he left all of the money from Casting Crowns behind to go to a band that, as far as I know, isn't doing anything at all. But he was also in youth ministry too, so this was kind of a side gig.
So he was starving for money.
And still is.
Yes.
So,
Starving artist and youth pastor, that's like 1 + 1, $2 a week,
yeah, at best.
probably. And with you streaming, it's like 1.00002.
So you actually get like a negative somewhere in there. So, but yeah, anyway, Soul Sister Sally. I'd like them to put out another album just in general, but something much like their Green Grass.
So for me, I would say Andy Mineo with Neverland.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay.
his song Neverland, the whole entire album to me was really good. There was one song where I was like, yeah, maybe not. But I really don't like the newer Andy Mineo stuff for the most part.
I'm not real pleased with it either.
Even, I appreciate it, Hear My Heart, because of the content of the
Right.
song and the heart behind it.
Yeah.
But the album, the Uncomfortable album, I really didn't feel that much. His EPs have been okay. They've been okay.
Yeah.
But like the Andy Mineo Neverland album was so strong all the way through. I really enjoyed it, the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to hearing that Andy, if he is going to come back out. But honestly, the way music has changed in the mainstream, nobody's going to do that style of music anymore. So it's really just wishful thinking rather than just wishful album.
Okay.
So anyway, number 4.
All right, Day of Fire. Their debut album again had that sort of garage band kind of feel to it.
Are they out of California?
No,
Because they have a lot of days of fire.
they do have a lot of fire.
Yeah.
Out there,
Okay.
No, Tennessee, and yeah, good solid rock band, and then they kind of got trapped up, kind of like Decipher Down, where the music started getting a little bit really glossy, and it lost its rawness. So I'd like to see Day of Fire put out another self-titled.
Okay. TFK, Phenomenon.
Oh yeah.
The last few albums have been kind of mellow, a little bit mushy, and then Trevor McNevin released I Am the Storm, which is kind of rapish.
Well,
And so,
and I thought their last album was pretty good overall. It definitely was toned down from Phenomenon, no doubt, no doubt. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of coming back from Oxygen, you know.
well, see, and the thing is, like, I illegally downloaded a bunch of songs from TFK a while ago, a long time ago.
Yeah, not a while.
And most of the songs were all like they right downloaded them. I was thinking this must be all their hits, right? Because every song was really, really good.
Yeah.
And then I realized later on, oh wow, that's all from one album.
Yeah.
Like one album had this many phenomenal songs. So I wish they had another album where every single song could have been a single. And again, you don't really get that from a whole lot of bands. You got a lot of filler. And I think that's why a lot of full-length albums went to EPs now to get rid of the filler songs.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, I would say TFK's Phenomenon type album.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to change this up. My my original listening was a Sean McDonald album. Still has some legitimacy there, but this hit me, I think, probably as a bigger. So we'll put Sean McDonald as an honorable mention. Derek Minor, Pro, Redemption. Redemption.
Yeah,
I mean that, okay, yeah, it's an old album, 2010, but I mean, so many just awesome, hard hitting songs. Murked, Can't Hold Me Down. You got
Hey You.
Yeah, I mean it's fight music. There's just so much great stuff on that album, and I think that's when I first was like, okay, I can really get back into Christian hip hop.
Right.
And then he went with Derek Minor, and he kind of lost me quite a bit after that. So, but anyway, Derek, put out another Redemption album.
Yeah, and again,
I will buy it if nobody else will.
Again, well, the thing is Derek Minor definitely is more of the trap sound, and so you're not going to get Derek Minor's Redemption. If the mainstream doesn't go that way, he's not going to go that way.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to be relevant to the style of music that's going out, and I understand kind of the reason for doing that is because you want kids to listen to it and be like, oh, this sounds like
right.
X, Y, Z.
Yeah, ministry first. I get it.
A Meek Mill. They did Derek Minor versus Meek Mill last week on Track Stars, and so you got to stay relevant to the sound, if you want to be able to reach the kids on a non-one-on-one discipleship level.
See, I'd rather that you focus on your art and do what you love, or at least do what I love. And that's the point of this round 5 is that you need to do what we love. So get everybody else.
Yeah, well, we're already Christians, so they don't care what we think. So, speaking of which, Lecrae, going from great to trap, Anomaly, man. I really wish he would do another Anomaly album. There were so many really strong songs on that for me. Even if it was like a church close, I enjoy church close too. But for me, my favorite Lecrae album was Anomaly, and like Timepiece was probably one of my favorite songs. Wish, I kind of miss the wordplay he used to have with some of his stuff, and but there were like one or two songs that I was like, the CCM type of stuff with Carrie Job, and there was another one with Christian Nicole.
That's just for mainstream.
Right, and that's just to get radio play, and continue getting fans to listen to new music. And so, but the rest of the album that wasn't real CCM-ish was really, really good. And I just really wish he would release another one like that. And, looking at people's top albums this year, very, very, very few people said his Let the Trap Sing Man album.
Yeah.
Very few.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, so I'd say Lecrae Anomaly. So number 2?
Well,
and we both have the same band.
Yeah, we both have the same band, but different albums.
Yeah.
So it's Disciple,
Yeah.
and mine is Southern Hospitality. I love the feel of it. Again, it's got that kind of dirty grunginess to it that made me fall in love with them from their By God album. But it has a more mature sound to it than By God. It's still got some great tracks on it, and just it seems like a well-rounded album. I agree with your album choice as well, but I have a tendency to lean toward something else particularly.
Yeah, mine was Scars Remain. All the songs on it from the jump were just really great hard songs. You know, they got their two laid back songs that you got to have for radio play. Everybody's got to have that CCM sound for radio play. If you want to get on the big station
Yeah,
Christian
but see,
radio,
I think Kevin does it just because that's actually
that's just his worship.
I think it's a worship thing. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, I actually heard the bands. Or the band members, sorry. I heard the band members talk about the style of music they would like to do. And, like, one of them said bluegrass, one of them said worship, one of them said metal. And so it was interesting to hear their different, like, their playlists are totally different from each other.
Right.
And so, you know, I can understand them having those softer tone songs. And, like, After the World, diversity, exactly. Like, After the World, that was a huge radio hit.
Right.
People love that song. And I believe Kevin loves performing that song because that's his state of more intimate worship than, you know, a Scars Remain or Game On.
Right.
So yeah, man. So Disciple, you know, go back a few years.
Yeah, and honestly, I like their last album, but it's not quite the same level. So.
Right.
All right. So number one, partially just because they haven't put anything out lately, Jars of Clay.
Well, they're doing a number one band, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty tight at the top for me, but I would say I can. If you put on Jars of Clay, I'm always good. You know,
right.
Sometimes I'm not in the mood for Disciple or whoever, but I'm always in the mood for Jars of Clay. So it's like a oatmeal raisin cookie. I can always eat an oatmeal raisin cookie. Jars of Clay is my oatmeal raisin cookie. But anyway, their album Good Monsters. It was hard to pick any one album, to be honest with you. You know, you could do a greatest hits album and say, hey, do a greatest hits album, but
that's kind of cheating, though.
It is. But I felt like, see, to me, for Good Monsters, it was much more of a social commentary. It seemed like this was almost like a U2 album in a way.
Okay.
They're calling out the Christian community. And that was big, so you're still talking about great diversity in styles of music. They're just phenomenal artists in that. But beyond that, I think it was the content, the lyrics. What is the substance of this album? And to me, it was one of the more substantial albums that has ever been put out. And I think that as a more mature Christian, is the kind of album that we do need to be listening to. When we start getting past the, By God album, where we're still just on milk, okay, to, the meat and taters kind of material. And I feel like that's where Good Monsters is. It's taking an extra step in. Sometimes you have to read a little more into Dan's lyrics because he gets very artsy in poetry, or poetic with his lyrics. But I think that's also part of the fun of it too. Is that okay? So it's a catchy beat or whatever, but then you go ahead and dig into the lyrics, and it's like reading scripture in a way. You're like, so what does this mean? What? I mean, just even the title "Good Monsters." What does that mean?
That's awesome.
And so there's just so many layers there, and there's a lot of commentary, and I think that it's a very introspective album, and that's why that would be my number one.
My number one is Demon Hunter, the Triptych.
Triptych was good.
Yeah, it took me forever to figure out how to say the name of the album. But again, to me, it was a perfect blend of nice, good, solid rock. You got a little bit of softer edge. The time began to rise and deteriorate. That's one of my favorite songs by them. But the Fire to My Soul.
Well, and the thing is I think that on that album you're talking about, they mastered the breakdown.
They did.
And so they executed it so perfectly that that's what makes that album a standout. Never mind the fact that there were 3 different album covers that you could get, which was still pretty cool, and they were all awesome looking. So.
Yeah, and did you know that they actually have their own graphic design company?
I believe it because I mean their stuff is always just way off the chain, man.
Yeah, they do. I think it's called Invisible Creature.
Okay.
They actually did Derek Miner's Minerville album. I want
Okay.
to say. I think they designed that, and they also did one of Tadashi's albums, Below Paradise.
Didn't like Marvel.
So, you mean the album or album cover?
But
So anyway, but that album is into the Science of Lies. They
I mean, it was
address
interesting looking, but
right. Well, the fact that they took the different, like they built blocks to create his face out of it. To me, it was very very creative.
Man.
So, but Ribcage is probably
Ribcage is
my favorite harder song on the album. I don't know, they're all really good, man. I'd say, I mean,
Well, and especially if you compare it to their latest album.
yeah, there's two albums.
Yeah.
They got two,
War.
War and Peace.
I still consider it, but yeah.
But
Because it releases its moment.
yeah, so
But yeah, the new album's man. I mean, there's a few tracks that are like, yeah, okay, that's all right, but overall, you didn't really impress me.
yeah. But anyway, man, if they release another Triptych album, I'd be extremely
Give me some
excited.
Ribcage.
I'd be extremely excited. So, yeah, man. So that's it for our top 5 wishful thinking albums or wishful albums.
Yeah.
So anyway, we will be right back to do a quick 2018 review, and also we got a brand new segment we're going to try to introduce into that as well. So stay tuned. We will be right back. Alright, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I gotta get. Oh, shoot. My list is on my phone.
Your what?
My list is on the phone.
List of what?
For things that we wanted to do, goals that we set. I think I remember some of them, so I'll just try to remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Solomon Sports Podcast. That was Brinson with his brand new song, Awkward Drip. Awkward Drip.
Oh, not Aqua. No. Oh, no, that's...
Awkward Drip.
Aqua.
I love the, he made a reference in there to Walking on Water. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so go check that out,
Way to
Brinson.
go,
Awkward Drip.
Good stuff.
And yeah, man, so real quick, let's do a 2018 in review. One thing we can do, we can address goals that we had last year and then maybe set some goals for next year. We did meet some goals from last year. One of the goals was getting a third mic, which we did get a third mic.
Yay.
Another stand, which I did get another stand.
Yay.
And a table stand specific, like I said.
Yeah.
And you stayed with your stand, like
you
said.
I like the boom. Yeah.
However, well, we did get some more guests this year.
Yeah.
We had Chris Noel, Ray Breed came back, Mr. Rell. So we had some other guests too, Zach Mahaffey, and there was several more. We had some new folks that had never been on the show.
Right.
So that was interesting to have. And I love having people in studio.
Yeah.
Guests in the
absolutely.
studio. And Omar, he came.
Yeah.
Lee, Richie, Matt, some non-artists. So that was pretty cool. And great conversations in those guests as well. So trying to think of some other goals we had for the show. Some other goals that we did not meet was getting. We didn't get any patrons. We didn't get any paid sponsorships yet. So look, if you want to be the very, very, I'm trying to think of a gift we can give away to the very first. I don't know what we'd give. We could send a comic. Send a brand new comic or something.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll not only just send you a new comic, we'll send you each a comic that from each of us that is our favorite of what we're currently reading.
There you go.
So that way you'll be able to try out a little bit of what we're into and what it is that we're digging on right now.
That sounds good. Sounds good.
We'll each provide you with a comic. So for our first Patreon, you get 2 comics, and I would say I would sign it, but I think it would devalue the comic.
It really would.
Yeah.
It really would. So how about this? Okay, so for the first 3 patrons, for the first one,
We can send them a picture.
they get one from each of us.
Okay.
The second one gets one from one of us. The third one gets one from the other.
Okay.
And then we'll sign a thank you card to each other.
Sounds great.
But you get a
I
thank
like
you card either way.
Sounds
So
good.
yeah,
I
man.
like
So hurry up, go sign up, go sign up, go sign up. Go to the website, SolomonSportsPodcast.com, and do that, and you'll be our first supporters of the show financially. And so awesome. Another one that we did not do was more on my part. We haven't been able to get phone call conversations in on the show. haven't been able to link the microphones up with Facebook or YouTube yet. So that's something I'm trying to work on real soon to be able to do that. So you can watch the show on YouTube live and get the quality of you that you would in the podcast.
Right.
The podcast listenership has actually grown.
Yeah.
More steadily. Honestly, last year about this time we were getting consistently about the same 20 listeners. Right now, we're anywhere from about 40 to 100 listeners per show consistently. And I say
pretty big gap.
I say consistently because, well, I'd say probably about what I'm seeing normally is
So
about.
that would average somewhere around 75 or something.
Well, it's hard to tell because like it'll go from like 50 for the first like 2 weeks, and then after a couple weeks it'll jump up to 100. So I don't know if it's actual listeners or not. And I say that because a lot of times if you use certain hashtags, then you'll get like bots that'll come and click on it, whatever, or however that works. And so it's really hard to tell consistently. And because people don't really interact with the show that much, that's one of the goals we need for next year is more interaction with the show. And so far I've been doing that, and that's been working really well.
Cool.
And I'll explain that in a little bit with our upcoming segment. And so 2018 in review for the show, I think that's about it. We really didn't set a goal for a new studio. We did the year before for like a standalone studio, and but I think what we have now is doable.
Yeah.
We got it all prettied up in here, and that's more for me. So yeah. But anyway, man. But personal goals. There's only two that you really set from last year, and that was sugar control, better sugar control, and then maintaining date night.
Okay.
Well,
so my update on that. So sugar control is definitely getting there. We've bounced through several different medications, and so that's been an issue. Trying to figure out what's working, what's not, and that just takes time. So we're narrowing it in. They have been improving, so that's good. As far as maintaining date night, still a struggle.
Right. Yeah, and I haven't. That was one of the things I said. Haven't been able to do any kind of date night. I also didn't do any competitions at all. Like I thought about doing some type of a turkey trot or 5K or some type of weightlifting competition. None of that. I did maintain going to the gym pretty regularly. There were a couple of months where I only went 2 or 3 times in the month. But I'm still kind of sort of consistent with my weightlifting, I'd say. And date night has pretty much been non-existent. It's just we don't have enough babysitters, and so we want to save our babysitters for when we absolutely need to have them, which are never for dates. They're always for something important, like doctor's appointments or something like that. So unfortunately, date night has not happened in my marriage as well. However, that we do try to make sure we spend some type of quality time together. We'd like the kids out of the bedroom for 10 minutes and just talk. And yes, it is just talking. Just talking. So, but yeah, gangster radio.
Yeah,
G-string radio.
That's how we do.
So, but as far as let's do some goals. Let's do some goals for 2019.
Okay.
So let's start with the show. Do some show goals. We have microphones. I would say still for me, I think some of the goals would be better production as far as getting the microphones linked up to YouTube, and whether YouTube or Facebook, whatever we decide to go with. I do want to work on some listener interaction, whether that's commenting through the show via Facebook or YouTube Live.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the ways we plan on doing that is introducing new segments. We are going to do one here in a few minutes called Who for Who, or Who versus Who. And this will essentially be, we pick, today we're going to do comic book characters, but I was thinking we could do pretty much anything.
Yeah.
We could do Will Smith versus Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Like movies, whatever. And we'll both have to pick out randomly which one, and then defend that person.
Easy.
So it makes it a little more interesting.
Well, it only is if we are, opposing people.
Yeah.
If we both pick Denzel Washington, then it's going to be pretty boring.
Yeah, well, the other problem, too, is, the other problem, too, is, we may want to pick the one we think we can defend the best, So it makes it a little bit easier. So,
All right.
it's almost like whenever election time rolls around, we could both prefer one candidate, but if we had to defend the other candidate, seeing if we could really do that. So it kind of tests your ability to debate sporadically.
Oh, I'm great at arguing. Just ask my wife.
Exactly, and you play devil's advocate all the time.
I do.
So
Yeah, we're good friends.
that's one of your superheroes that we pointed out.
Say.
Yeah. So anyway, as far as the show, I don't know. What do you think we should make as a show goal?
Well, honestly, I think that the interaction was probably one of my biggest goals.
Gotcha.
To be honest with you, just because I like getting feedback from our listeners, and I'm not always a social person, but in this arena, this is where I'm most social, and so I almost sort of like that radio show kind of feel to it. So.
I think as far as the show goes, I think it'd be good to see Sean interact with a lot of people on Twitter.
Absolutely not going to happen.
On Facebook.
Not going to happen.
So, I mean, that's the big thing with the interaction, interaction.
Do you realize that I don't even keep up with Facebook for friends or even, more importantly, Arkham Comics? I mean, like, I didn't even know that they were going to have a thing. They got a really cool thing going on tonight, and, I mean, obviously we got plans, but I was clueless. I walked in, and he's telling me, and I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, it's on Facebook. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, okay. That's why.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to the events because most of the events aren't really for me. So, but that's just me. But
anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, personal goals. Do you have any personal goals this year?
Definitely the ongoing work on my blood sugar. But I've got one big thing that I definitely want to get done this year, and then there's a long-term one. So for this year in particular, I want to be able to accomplish, and I may have mentioned this in a year past, there's a bike ride called Tour de Pickle. It's in Mount Olive. That's where Mount Olive Pickle Company is, and so that's why it's called Tour de Pickle. They have a 30-mile ride, and then they also have a century, so it's 100 miles. But my goal is to be able to get to where I can ride that 30-mile ride. It may be all that I can do to get the 30 miles in, but it's usually at the end of April, and so I don't have a whole lot of time to be able to build up to that, but it's a goal. So I'm going to try to make that happen this year. A long term, so it's going to be baby steps throughout the year, is I'm in the process of setting up a business.
Okay.
And so to be able to specifically pinpoint a particular part of that at this point is probably just the business plan. So I need to get the business plan done this year.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I'd say for me personally, I would like to grow the Business with Border podcast even more. I didn't grow with the amount of patrons. I actually lost one and then gained one. So I'm still at 3 supporters for that show. And, I did want to say for this show...
Did Aaron drop you?
No, Aaron's actually he's been straightforward. He's been straightforward supporting for a long time. One thing we are going to be possibly doing is joining the Trackstars Podcast Network.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that'll definitely grow the listenership for the show. It did for my show by a lot.
Well, and I like the affiliation with Trackstars. Super great organization, and so just even be able to share in name with them in any format is an honor, frankly. So.
For sure. And but personally wise, I would like to. I'm working on ordination right now.
Yeah.
Put in my application and references going through. So one thing, a personal life calling I feel in mind is to be a pastoral leader in some way, shape, or form. And so that's one area.
I forgot to tell you, they sent me an email because for some reason you put me down as a reference. I told them there's just no way, man. It's. I told them, listen to the podcast. You'll see why.
Please don't tell me you put a link to the podcast.
I did. I say I did. I had Isabel do it because I don't know how to do a link to anything. So and she was just like, oh, there's no way. You've got to put a link to the show on there. And I was like, so I did the one on sex. So.
perfect. That's perfect. But yeah, man, and I'll be honest, man. Teaching a Bible study,
I love you.
I haven't really been praying about growth in the Bible study because I don't know if I want to keep it small and just be able to build on my ability to teach and lead.
Effectiveness, yeah.
So I think that's one of the things to be more effective and to really be able to do more in the community in terms of giving and being more active in some way, shape, or form, being a part of something bigger than myself. You know,
Right, yeah.
if that makes any sense. And so
Well, and that piggybacks on, what I was saying about art and comics,
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
So, but yeah, man. So I guess let's do it just real quick. What are some of the biggest things in 2018 that you think happened that you really loved? Some of the biggest things you can think of in 2018. Like I would say, Black Panther, Infinity War. Those are phenomenal movies that I really love.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. This past year was largely tainted by a fairly monumental change in my life.
Right.
And it's pretty much everything pales in comparison to what took place there. For those of you that don't know, and I don't think I really actively shared this on the show before, but I was heavily involved in a ministry full time. It was an unpaid position, and I was putting in full-time hours. And we came to a disagreement, and it was we just couldn't get past it, and so we had to part ways. But everything that I thought that I knew that my life was about was kind of just tossed out the window, if you will, or at least that's what it felt like. And so there was a whole lot of change emotionally and spiritually, because that was part of the problem. Was my spiritual condition was not where it needed to be either. And so it's really consumed a lot of my life, and what I've been doing with my time in the subsequent months, and it's been about 6 months now. And there's been a lot of great growth and new exploration, and I think that I'm in a much better place emotionally and spiritually, and have grown a lot. And it's in understanding the kingdom principles, and to also be able to understand I mean, frankly, just understanding kingdom principles is not, it's not as simple as just the statement, understanding kingdom principles. There's so many layers.
There's a lot involved in there.
It really is. And so, once you start digging into that, then you start realizing how much it applies to absolutely everything. And your perspective changes. And, it's part of that process was that I also learned that, what I thought what my calling was. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, this was the struggle. Everybody always said, well, what do you feel led to do? And I was just like, I don't know, man, I'm just here. So I'm going to do whatever it is that needs to be done.
Right.
And everybody kept asking me, well, what do you feel led to do? I don't know, whatever needs to be done. That's not how God operates. God calls you to something specific. And I now see that. And so I needed to move past that. I needed to get out of that situation because it wasn't healthy for me. And it even though I thought that that's where God had really placed me, it was a temporary thing. It was a seasonal thing.
Right.
And I had outstayed that season by far and large. So that's my 2018. It was pretty big. You could say like a death in the family is pretty huge, and that's probably what this was most akin to.
Right. So this is a big transition year for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it has been for me as well. It's been a really big transition. Starting to teach a Bible study, and really getting into a deep study of the Word, as well as reading the Bible. I think I have like 14 days before it's about 13, 14 days before I'm done reading the full Bible. And so I've been on that journey this year, which has been extremely interesting. And so, but yeah, man, just a lot of different transitions this year, and learning, growing, and trying to, continually. We should always be growing spiritually. Always be doing that.
Absolutely.
And so, but again, I think we've both really been studying kingdom principles and things like that,
Yeah.
and really understanding how to understand the Bible in context of how God wrote it. And
Yeah.
so, and that's just the
I think sometimes people, dumb it down.
Yeah.
To, oh, it's a love story. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger picture here, and if you don't see it through that lens, there's a lot that you miss.
There really is. There really is. So anyway, man, 2018 in review.
Yeah.
We're gonna end the show out with a quick who versus who. This will be our first time going at it.
Yeah, and so we're thinking about maybe possibly replacing round 5 with this. We'd like some feedback from you guys on it, so that way we know if you dug it, if there's room for improvement, or how what you would like to see from it, and or it may just be something that we do alternatively to
Yeah.
round 5. So maybe we still keep round 5, but every other show, or whatever. We'll get
Gotcha.
into who versus who. So explain to me, what is this who versus who?
So who versus who? I posted it up this week, and I was asking, essentially, what comic book characters, and this is just kind of the main idea that came from me. So what 2 comic book characters would you like to see battle it out? And we got a lot of response. I posted up on my personal Instagram, and we got a ton of response from it on Twitter as well, and Facebook. And so,
But we're open to, like you said, actors. Denzel
Yeah.
versus Will Smith. So
and like, what catalog do you think is better? Would
who
win
does
out?
better action movies?
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that.
Rappers and rap battles, or like battle of the bands, or anything like that can really go. But who versus who is essentially going to be that's the working title of it now, of the
Yeah.
segment. And so this week I decided, I guess I kind of decided it, 2 of my favorite comic book heroes.
Right.
I'd say Batman and Captain America.
Okay.
So this week, who versus who? Captain America versus Batman. We don't know who we're defending yet. We don't know who we have. I wrote them down right here.
Yep.
And so you have to pick one, and then we'll see who we're going to be going with. So, and really quick, fast, in a hurry.
You keep eyeballing this one, so
I'm not eyeballing either one of them.
Should I?
I don't know what's what.
Okay, I'm gonna say this one right here.
So, oh, who do you have?
Bot.
You have the Bat. You have Batman.
Oh, is that what it says? Bat.
Which is interesting because I'm wearing the Batman hat.
You are.
And I'm going to be saying why Captain America would be able to beat Batman in a battle.
Oh, okay.
And so this is one-on-one. This is not team versus team. Nothing like
Hey,
that.
you want to switch names?
No, we got to do it this way. We have to.
Man.
We have to. And
So I have to
so,
buy him a gift.
no.
You said this isn't like drawing names for Christmas.
No, it's not like that.
Okay.
But so you have to defend the position that you think Batman could beat Captain America in a battle.
That's easy.
So okay, so this is fresh, brand new. We'll try to keep it within 5 minutes. That way we don't ramble on and on and on.
Okay, so I think that we have to establish first. Does Batman have his utility belt and all of the accessories? And does Captain America have a shield?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does Batman have access to like Batmobile, Batwing?
No.
Okay. What about Nightwing or Robin?
No.
Okay.
No team.
No team.
He only has what he would normally walk around as Batman carrying on his person.
Okay. All right.
So,
Okay.
and same as Captain America with
Okay.
his shield. Pretty much the only thing Captain America really has is his shield.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but you got to think about it. Okay, so Captain America. I'll start off.
Yeah. Start off. Go ahead.
So Captain America, super strength, super speed.
Yeah.
He has his vibranium shield, which nothing can penetrate through, and he uses that shield as a weapon as well, which we see in all the films. A lot of his, if you look in the comics, he has used it a lot as a weapon as well as a defensive mechanism. And so, but with his quickness, he has real fast reflexes. So pretty much anything Batman would throw at him, he would be able to dodge immediately, and he would be able to use his shield to protect him.
Yeah, but we're not talking like the Flash kind of speed here, okay? So it's not like,
Well, it's
you
not
know,
the Flash speed.
If Batman threw a batarang at him, he's not going to be able to like step to one side and look at it as it goes by, kind of thing. No.
No, but he could easily
he
bat
still
it down.
He gets punched.
But he's got a
He
shield,
still
he'll
gets
bat it
hit.
down.
He gets hit with stuff. Yeah,
but he could take a hit.
Well, okay, but still, if
And he'll just stand up and say, "Come on, I can do this all day."
Okay, but if Batman hits him with an exploding batarang, okay, so he hits him one with a smoke to disorient him, and then another one to be able to actually like knock him in the
But
noggin.
here's the problem, though.
I think
the
totally
smoke
taken
doesn't
down right
disorient him. Did you not see in the?
No, it's just visually. It's just so that way, he can't really see so clear right at first.
But he could go through that thing.
Well,
He has the ability for that not to affect him.
We're talking about split seconds here. He doesn't have time to be able to think past that. And we know he can bleed, so as soon as he gets hit with that exploding batarang, boom, done.
Yes,
Batman
he
all did
bleeds.
that from a distance, man.
Yes, he bleeds.
Yes, he bleeds.
Of course, but the thing is, though,
So does Batman.
But here's the difference, though. I think that if you look at it, Batman fights from anger, where Captain America fights from a justice and hope.
Yeah,
They fight from two different places.
No, Batman does that too, though.
So
he initially started out of anger.
So Captain America, in my opinion, he's more driven from I'm doing the right thing, or Batman often second guesses himself.
Well, I mean, that's just his humanity, but we're not even talking about that. We're talking about that they both have a reason to fight each other. So if they both have a reason to fight each other, Batman's on like Donkey Kong, man. Look, okay, so I give you the Cap's got strength, okay? And we don't ever really truly
He's
see
stronger and he's faster.
We don't really see his speed so much, but...
Oh, no. Infinity War, he blew past everybody that was running, and him and Black Panther, again, with super agility.
Okay, that was the first time, honestly, that you really got to see
No,
his
in
speed.
Civil War, he was running faster than cars.
Okay, and
So he's faster. He's faster.
I get that, but we're not really truly seeing his speed in terms of when he's fighting. Okay, when it's hand-to-hand combat.
Okay, he doesn't have like the Flash. He doesn't have that.
Combat,
He doesn't have that.
You don't really see his speed. Okay, so I think it's a moot point because if even if you put him down to just fisticuffs, no shield, no utility belt, then Captain America has the strength, but he doesn't have the fighting skills that Batman has.
That's
Batman's
true.
been trained in so
That
many
is
different
true.
things. And he also knows how to take the punches, so he'll take those hard hits that Captain America can deliver and make contact with, but then still be able to pull out all those other moves that are going to end up putting Cap down. Now, I'm not saying that he would kill Cap. I'm not saying that, but I think that he could get the first down.
The first down?
Yes.
So you think Captain America would be first off of his feet?
Yes. Now, I'm not saying KO, but first off his feet. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about that.
And that even without shield and without utility belt.
Ooh, I don't. So just straight hand to hand.
Just straight hand to hand.
With no weapons.
Yes, and solely because of Batman's skills. I mean, he's got so much training. The League of Assassins. I mean, come on, dude.
Okay, I think in this case we have to give it to Batman.
Okay.
So I think so we both agree that Batman would win a real fight. Aside from just the debate,
I think so.
do you really think that Batman would beat Captain America in a hand-to-hand fight?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So, ding, ding, ding. I don't know if we would have used it. I might use the same bell or whatever for the round 4. We'd use for round 5. But, so, Batman beats out Captain America. In our first Who versus Who. Let us know what you think about this segment. You know, I want to know. We've had a ton of suggestions, a ton of them. And so I'm excited to see what we can do with this.
And you can tell us who you thought should have won or won and, whatever, but it doesn't really matter because ultimately I'm still right anyway, so.
Sure. I did post it on Instagram and I posted on Twitter as well. And I'm sure we've had a lot of responses since we started this recording this show.
Yeah.
And but I think I mostly saw one person on Twitter said Cap, and I know on Instagram I had somebody that said Batman. So we'll count them up and we'll see what y'all think. But we think it's Batman. Let us know why we're wrong or why we were right on YouTube in the comments. So anyways, that's it for the show this week. I think this is going to be the last show of the year.
It is the last show of the year. Yeah.
So, Christmas is in a couple of days from today. We wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
A very happily, merry, fantastical Christmas. And bring you the New Year safely. I hope everybody is setting goals for 2019. Please set some goals, not resolutions, goals. Because I think goals are important.
And I'm my little soapbox, because I always have to do it for Christmas anyway.
Do it.
Look, y'all, it is Christmas. It is Christ Mass. It is about Jesus. Yeah, we get that. It's okay to be
just call
serious.
Christ a mass.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's okay to be serious about some stuff. It's also okay to have a lot of fun with it too. But let's not trivialize who it is about, even though I strongly disagree with the time of year to do this and the fact that there's nothing biblical about celebrating anybody's birthday.
They're actually, I hadn't read it yet, but I plan on reading it. Somebody shared, apparently there's 25thers, know, people who actually have a strong case on why he might have been born on December 25th.
Yeah, but it's still not biblical to celebrate the birthday. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All right.
That's true.
So anyway, but stop thinking about your dang selves. I went out today and I had to pick up some groceries, and it was totally nuts out there. And part of the reason for that is that everybody's just thinking about themselves, trying to get from here to there. It was amazing when I would stop and I'd let somebody go by or I'd let somebody into traffic or something. The kind of responses that I got, people were just looked at me like, "Oh, thank you so much," like I had just given them like $100 bill or something. Okay, stop being so daggone hateful, y'all. I mean, it is Christmas. It's supposed to be joyful, and if you're too wrapped up about what it is that you're getting or giving or buying and food and all that other stuff, you're kind of missing the point to it all. Okay.
I think it's funny that Sean is ranting about being joyful.
Okay, all right, point taken. But look, I'm serious. The best opportunity, the best time I had today, okay, wasn't in any store that I was in, but it was conversations that I had with other people.
Not including me.
Well, yeah, it's never with you. So, but yeah, just stopping and chatting with someone. Okay, I spent time with people, and we had an emotional connection kind of thing. You could say we had church or whatever, but the point is that it's about people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, God sent us here, right? We're still His children, and we care about each other, and at least we're supposed to be doing that.
We're supposed to.
Yeah, so show it, do it. That's it. I would drop the mic, but it's on.
All right. So. Thanks to all of our patron supporters.
Yes. Oh, right.
And Genesis Pro Designs. GenesisProDesigns.com. He created the Solomon Sports Podcast logo, which is on a t-shirt, which you can also check out at TrueStrengthApparel.com, which we forgot to mention at the beginning of round 5.
Oh, dude, you forgot them.
I forgot. My bad.
Aaron, you can ding them, bro.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Anyway, so GenesisProDesigns.com, TrueStrengthApparel.com. Go check out that website. Aaron's a cool dude, man. He's legit, dude.
He
I
is.
really I appreciate his support. And he's been supporting us since day one, and always sharing the show. But we have had a lot of feedback on the show from people that he has referenced it to, and so I'm glad he's done that. And so
thank you for your support.
we're going to end out the whole entire show this year with I'm changing it. We're not going to do Game On by Disciple. We're going to do Rise Up by Disciple.
Okay, well, as long as it's by Disciple, I don't really care.
Because I really feel like next year is going to be a year
it's time to
where
rise up.
we rise up, man. We rise up as a show, as a people.
Right on. Yeah.
And by people, I mean as Christians.
And Christians, yes, the body of Christ. Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Preach it. Come on.
So, remember.
Give it to us. Come on. Amen.
See y'all next year. And always remember that Jesus loves you way more than we do.
Amen.
To your rant. Have joy, folk. Have joy. Yeah. How do I stop this thing?